Welcome to April's suggested constellation of the month. As per usual, here's the sky without any lines drawn on it, but just showing the stars that make up the constellation against the background field of stars in the area. This one, I admit, not so easy to pick out because the stars that make up the constellation aren't too bright really. Tend to be about third or fourth magnitude. So hopefully you've got it by now, you've found them. It's those two main stars there, together with those and a few others, that make up the constellation of Cancer. Cancer, the crab. Okay, so as you'll see, there are a couple of fuzzy patches here. So more about those in a little while. They're both star clusters. Let's just have a look at our old out into space tea cards. So there's a picture of the crab, as you've seen before, and there a little bit more information about it. As it says just here, not only does it have these clusters, but there are a couple of double stars and one triple star. Can be seen there. One cluster of over 150 stars, that's the one that was just about there. I'll talk about that number and what that cluster's called in just a few moments' time. So where do we find it in the night sky? Hopefully you can see it not too far from last month's constellation, which was Gemini. And between Gemini and Leo, there it is. That's where to find Cancer. Okay, let's have a look. As you can see in this star map, there are a few more of the stars that form the various legs of Cancer have been shown, together with their Greek identifiers. And as you can see, this fuzzy blob here, which was the brightest of the star clusters, has been given a name and also a number, M44, so that means it's one of our Messier catalogue objects. It's called the Beehive Cluster, that's its English name, but it also has a Latin name called Praesepe. But I think Beehive's not a bad name. A lot of stars there, all buzzing around. It looks a busy little area. So Beehive, yeah, quite a reasonable name. The Beehive Cluster, or Praesepe, it's quite wide. It's about 3 moon widths across, 1.5 degrees or thereabouts in total. So it means it's quite an accessible cluster if you've got a pair of binoculars. You'll soon find it. If you've got good eyesight and you know exactly where to look, then yes, you can see it as a fuzzy patch with the naked eye. My card says about 150 stars. Other people put it at a couple of hundred, 300 probably. A deep space society to which I belong, called the Webb Society, in the handbook actually says that there are 2,000 stars in that cluster. But that's with very good telescopes revealing the fainter members of that cluster. Galileo was the first one was recorded to have turned a telescope on that fuzzy patch and revealed it to be made up of stars. So perhaps it was Galileo that first came up with the name of star clusters. There is another open star cluster there, as you can see, and it's within the Messier catalogue, called M67, and we'll see pictures of both of those in just a moment. And we also in this series like to introduce not only the Messier catalogue, but the Caldwell catalogue of objects not included in the Messier list, and that was put together by Patrick Moore. And there is a Caldwell object within this constellation. And this one is a spiral galaxy, and it's number 48 in the Caldwell list. And that's to be found way down in the southern part of Cancer, near the border of the constellation with the neighbouring constellation of Hydra. Let's have a look at those clusters in a little bit more detail. Oh, but before we do, I nearly forgot the double stars. Now, as we can see, Iota up here, a very good double star, but with a nice colour contrast, one yellow and one blue, but not too far apart in terms of magnitude, an even closer pair in terms of magnitude, almost identical, and both white stars. So nice sight in either binoculars or, better still, a small telescope. And this triple star is down here. That's Zeta. And as you can see again, the magnitude's not that far apart, so it makes quite an interesting sight. Now, as I promised, a look at the cluster. No particular shape to be made out, and as you can see, a good couple of dozen really bright stars, and yes, indeed, several hundreds of fainter stars making up the cluster. So not too far away from Earth, 515 light years. But we can't say who discovered it. I know Galileo looked at it, but that fuzzy patch of sky has been known about since people started looking up at the night sky. The M67 cluster is much more densely packed and a lot further away, and so it is a lot fainter. Down at magnitude 6.9, whereas the total brightness of all the stars put together of the Praesepe or the Beehive Cluster would have been about magnitude 3. So this one did take a telescope to discover it, and that's a contemporary of Messier and Herschel and so on, Johann Kohler. William Herschel himself discovered this one, the spiral galaxy, in the New General Catalogue. It has its number there, but we're calling it Caldwell C48 here. So a lot further away, well outside our own Milky Way, distance of 55 million light years. So when the light left there, the dinosaurs had been dead for only about 10 million years. Okay, so that's it. Not too long because it's a rather small, rather faint constellation. But as you can see, a couple of interesting open star clusters and also interesting double stars. So do get out there and have a look at it. And I'll be telling you about another constellation this time next month. Bye for now.